Hello, hi everybody, and thank you for coming to this Toolkits live talk tonight with cartoonist Tommi Parrish. Tommi and I are both sitting on lands that belong to the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. That is also where Express Media lives. And so on behalf of all of us, I want to pay respects to elders past and present, and to any Indigenous people tuning in tonight. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I am hosting this talk because I'm the current facilitator of the Toolkits Graphic Narratives program. My name's Bailey Sharp. I'm a cartoonist and 1/4 of the Risograph comics publisher Glum Press. And I'm really excited to have Tommi here tonight, who is, I think, one of the leading artists internationally when we talk about Australian comics and cartoons. And they're only recently back living in Australia, and we're very glad to have them around. I'm sure many of you who have come here will already know Tommi's work, but I'll just read their bio now. Tommi Parrish is a trans Australian cartoonist and painter. Their debut graphic novel, The Lie and How We Told It, won the 2019 Lambda Literary Award for Best LGBTQ Graphic Novel. Known for their distinctive hand-painted style and emotionally honest storytelling, Parrish explores themes of intimacy, loneliness, queer desire, and human connection in contemporary life. Their new book, The Past is a Grotesque Animal, is a retrospective of old and previously unpublished work, and it is available now. It came out very recently. Parrish is currently completing a Master's of Contemporary Art at the Victorian College of the Arts here in Naarm. And just before we get started, I just want to give a little bit of context as to why we're here. So Toolkits, the program that I'm facilitating, is a 12-week program for writers aged 30 and under, to develop their skills in a unique and exciting online environment. Toolkits is run by Express Media, and Express has been around for over 30 years now, developing, supporting, and promoting young writers through workshops that develop skills, through opportunities for constructive feedback, and publications like VoiceWorks, and through awards and programs that recognize excellence. Toolkits is generously supported by the Copyright Cultural Fund. This session, when we're done, will be available on YouTube as a resource, but for those who are here now live, please feel free to use the chat function, ask questions, add your thoughts, and as Tommi and I chat, we might weave them in, or we might kind of come to them at the end. We'll sort of see how things go as we chat. So Tommi, as I mentioned, you've got this new book out, but it's old work. Yes. I have been myself, I don't have the book on hand, but I've been going through the archive of a mutual friend who's got an exhaustive Tommi collection. So I've been going through all your old work in the last day, which has been really amazing. But I just want to know, how does it feel like sifting through that stuff and looking at it and taking it in? It must be interesting.
Yeah. I actually really dragged my feet with this one. Here it is. It took like years for it to be published, because it would take me like 5 months to answer an email because I really didn't want to do it. But I'm really glad. I'm really glad it happened, and I feel like very, very, very grateful that Fantagraphics was also busy, and so yeah, I'm glad that it was like a mutual dragging of the feet.
Yeah, that's the best feeling ever, when somebody else apologizes for their late email. You're like,
I know, and I'm like, I thought that was me. Yeah, so it feels strange.
Yeah, cool. Did the idea come from you or from them to do the collection?
From them.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah. Was it? Yeah. How do you feel like putting it out? I'm curious, like, because I looking through all your work this last day, like I see a lot of, themes, recurring, of course, with like everybody's work, like coming up again and again. And I'm interested to know, like, what you think, like, were there things that you hadn't remembered? Were there things that were like, interesting and new for you to see, like seeing everything side by side again?
I think I suppose like I'm interested, like some of them I'm really proud of still. And I'm like, oh wow, I did that. And you know, some of them I don't feel that way. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's been interesting to like see how like my stuff has grown and become like a little bit more complicated in terms of writing and ideas and stuff.
Mm. Yeah, that must be like very nice feeling to like see the through line, see the progression. I've had a lot of fun reading them. One thing that struck me is seeing them, if you don't mind if I show some stuff, like just
Yeah.
they're all very almost every zine that I have is like a totally different format from the one. Like they're all very experimental in terms of like the book design and what the book actually is.
Yeah.
And I'm like how you went about like putting them together into the one, or
In
how
terms of how
like
the
how you
whether in anthology.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, mostly I just didn't. I just sent them like hundreds of files. And they sorted through them. I guess honestly the part that was really exciting for me was to getting to put the like collagey bits in there. Which kind of like throughout it sort of pictures of sort of like me with friends and sort of like sketches and things like this. This is my dear friend Moggy, who I lived with for a little while in America. But yeah, I think I've always found bookmaking just really, really exciting. And I've gotten more and more into different forms of bookmaking. I have like a couple of like really gorgeous, like quite a lot of really, really smart people have like written books about how to how to make bookmaking like an art within itself,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
like
cool.
origami, but it's a book.
Yeah, that definitely comes across. It always feels,
Mm.
and like an extension of your artwork as well. Like it feels like it's always like undulating and changing. Like there's consistency, there's visual consistency to it. Like your style is your style, but you know, like going from the painterly stuff to the line work and back and like in between, like they're always, to me, this sense of like playing with each book in its own new way, really
Mhm.
like, and it's very satisfying to look at altogether.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I mean, you've got to stay interested, right? I feel like some cartoonists, some artists can just do the same thing forever, and I think they have a very particular brain. But I think for the rest of us to stay like engaged with what you're doing, it needs to always be changing a little bit.
Yeah, cool. And to that point, you told me offline, you gave me like a tease. You were like, "Oh, I'm thinking of radically changing how I'm approaching comics in the future." What? Tell me more. I want to know more.
Well, I've always done collage, and I've always been trying to work out how to integrate collage and comics. After I made like a really big book that took a long time called Men I Trust, and it kind of like ruined art for me for a little while because I was so burnt out, and arguably maybe yeah, I'm like I'm still haunted by the process of making that book a little bit. And so the idea is like how to make it as like playful as possible. So yeah, this is kind of like where I'm at the moment, like how to not be sort of like locked into like a particular type of aesthetic, sort of similar to oh my god, where are we? Leomi Sandler. She does it really incredibly if you know her work. Um, just like really chaotic, kind of gross, all over the place.
Yeah.
Like I see her work and I'm like, there's like a real like freedom in that. and just like leaning into the sloppiness of it. I'm like an extreme perfectionist, and so it's been quite difficult to get there, but yeah, baby steps all the time. I feel like I'm like slowly shepherding myself into getting looser.
Well, it's funny because, I mean, well, how did you get into the painting, like doing painted comics originally? Like what was that?
Well, I remember seeing comic books, and the front was always really amazing, and then I'd open it and the insides I'd be like, this is bullshit. It's just black and white. Like, why isn't it painted all the way through? Now I know why it isn't painted all the way through. But yeah, I don't know. I think I just really loved the painting. It just really, I love the idea of having, you know, you have this path, like you have this idea, and then then you can just make stuff for years sometimes. And like most of the thinking has been done, and all you need to do is kind of just play with colors, and yeah, it feels like very, very like calming and stabilizing.
Okay, interesting. So you like the amount of time that it takes, almost like that it's not.
I did.
Like, okay. Yeah.
I definitely did like it. I think it's going to be like a part of a larger process now. Probably just yeah. I think I need like a little more flexibility than like the painted book kind of like allows for the moment.
Yeah, cool. Should I show? Because I've got Minitrust here, just to, and I think most people have probably seen your work, but to give a sense of how the outside matches the inside equally.
Well, the outside is just a panel from the inside.
Yeah. So it's very, very like lush, vivid, amazing. Like, you know, I can't even conceive of like how long does a page take you on average in this kind of style? Like, do you have a sense of
full days, like a week, like a full week maybe, or perhaps a bit less, but that's without doing anything else at all in my life. And maybe that's like part of the desire to change it up a little bit, so I can like, you know, do other things, like, you know, have friends and stuff.
Yeah, this sounds like you need to be like a monk to do this. Like, is that cool, dog?
Yes. Hey, my roommate just got back. Sorry. Cool dog.
That's Cool Dog. Capital C, capital D. It's a proper name.
Like oh, there he is. Hey, Mister.
Hi. Hey, Cool Dog.
Oh, he's huffing and puffing because he can still hear my roommate. Okay. There we
go. But yeah, how do you think then? Do you have a sense of like how the painting will interact with the collage process? Like, you be going back and forth, or like painting things, tearing it up? Like,
I think the likelihood is that some pages, the content will call for them to be collaged, and some pages the content will call for them to be painted. Like, I think it's just really going to be the idea is for it to feel intuitive and to feel like really like freed from the idea of something needing to look a certain way, basically. I'm also, what is also connected to this is that I am no longer trying to make my whole income of comics. And so that has been like an extraordinarily freeing thing. Like, it can look bad and that's okay. Yeah. Or it can look strange. I can be like in the middle of like a process of working out what I want to do next, and that's all right. It's not just like needing to, churn things out that look the same.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing, like at the VCA, and what work you're doing now outside of art, and how you're seeing those things?
Well, I'm working as an art teacher at a high school, which is really fun. And I am doing my master's at the VCA because I wanted to get into. I had this idea that, which I now know isn't true, that university teaching was this incredible scam where you just work, don't work, and you get all this money for doing nothing, which is absolutely not true.
I've been in the scam program, and there are appealing theft-like aspects to it sometimes. Other times, I'm trying to retrain to teach art in high schools as well right now. I don't know if we've talked about this, but
very briefly. Yeah, it's really special. I actually went on an excursion with them today. We went and saw the penguins in St Kilda. But yeah, at uni, I'm doing like a lot of sewing and stuff like that in the middle of kind of like making like collaged comics, basically just like expanding out, and it's been really wonderful. Actually, I think it's been like having that space has been necessary for like a while.
Yeah, and the like release of the pressure, and imagine
that. Yeah, the pressure is not it. I don't know. It's just not it,
Yeah. I guess it makes diamonds sometimes, and then other times it just wrecks your life, and
Yeah, the diamonds are in your stomach. It's good. It's a wonderful thing to like move in and out of, but I think it's yeah, I don't know. It definitely takes a toll for the people who are like aiming for that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, I wanted to know a bit more about like what art you find inspiring and what comics, but also like outside of comics, because you've always been very multimedia. Like, I mean, you say you're expanding now into, but I feel like you've always been Mr. Multimedia, like, and I find the coolest comic artists, the ones that I think are doing the best work, usually have this like multimedia tendency, or like they come from like a background of maybe they read comics growing up, maybe not, but it wasn't the central, like they have these other artistic interests and niches that then they like are like, wait, how do I play with that in the comic form? And then you get this, I think why we have this like explosion of like styles and experiments in comics making. Yeah, I just want to hear you talk more about like what you're into, comics and non-comics wise.
Well, funnily enough, the multimedia part was always like a private thing just for me, because I was like always doing like comics, always had to be an illustration, was always kind of at the forefront. And yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to work out how to like bring them both, make it this kind of like interchangeable thing. There's this artist who I am obsessed with. You probably know him, Paul Yor. He just does these like really, really hectic tapestries. And like I said, Leonie Samler does similar. And I think like having collage of like the base, that's kind of like the foundation of whatever you make, even if it doesn't look like a traditional collage, again, is like really, really freeing. There are types of writing that are like a form of collage, where maybe you've spoken about that in like this course, in terms of sort of like rejecting rejecting the linear narrative, not only sort of like it doesn't necessarily have a beginning, middle, and end, but you just kind of like you chuck random bits in there and you like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm really drawn to the collage because just kind of like anything goes. And like if you like find yourself in that mindset of anything goes, then it's harder to like, it's easier to be like accepting of what you make and excited about what you make, even if it doesn't look maybe how you envisioned it would look, you know? I think it's like, yeah, I think it's like an important step away from like perfectionism.
Yeah, cool. Do you think you'll be doing it, like, do you envision at some point doing like book length, like, you know, the length of something like Men I Trust in that style? Or like, are you focusing on like shorter pieces, or do you have a sense?
I'm like working on, I kind of have like a big story at the moment, but it's going really, really slowly because I'm still working out what I want it to look like. And it's also going slowly because, yeah, I guess I'm not forcing it at all, basically. And it's been like really amazing to just like sit on an idea and fiddle around with it and talk to people about it and like stop and start. So yeah, I think another long one has come out. I mean, I've already spent half the advance on the long one.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess technically I've like signed a contract for it, but yeah, no time soon because I think I want the experience of making this book to be really different from the last one because the last one was a bit brutal, as I said.
Well, do you like, how do you go about, for this or your previous work, like how do you go about planning for something long? Is it different every time, or are there like ways that you set up guardrails?
It's different every time. Last time the lie, I just kind of did one section at a time. And Men I Trust, I planned it all out and had a lot of help from friends, a lot of help. And from this one, I think I have like lots and lots of writing, and I'm just like picking little parts of it and like starting to draw it and like see where it goes. So this time around is like very, very fluid, and very, very choose your own adventure. And I'm including like liner print and etching and like, yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it good, like, especially being at the university right now, having access to a bunch of different equipment, like, is that like charging up this multimedia process for you? Is that helping, or?
No, I haven't used any of it, which is I'm so annoyed at myself for it. It took me like 7 months to get access to the print studio, and by then grad show is too soon. But no, I think it's just maybe honestly it's like having a little more space, like having physical space to like play around with things. And also this work I'm doing with like the teenagers like requires me to like learn a lot of new like modalities of making. And I'm just like, oh wow, this is like a whole thing that I can like fold into. Yeah, I'm just like constantly learning new ways of making because of that. And yeah, a lot of them like fold into like narrative like really, really quite well because they're printing based a lot of the time.
Yeah. And yeah, when you work, what is like, do you work at a desk? What's your setup? I mean, I guess you're switching between things, but is that also fluid, or do you have like a?
Yeah. Well, I sometimes it's at a desk. I have a studio that I had to move out of recently because I had a uni studio. So at the moment I have like a home studio. I have like a I feel like it's my dirty secret. I love drawing in bed. I can just feel my back. I'm just like, yeah, I know. I just know that my back is like screaming at me for doing it. This is my spine, by the way, if that wasn't obvious. But yeah,
Well,
a desk.
you say it's a
Pardon?
dirty secret. You say it's a dirty secret, but I was going to say, based on the deep dive I just did, like there's so much that happens on beds in your work. Like so often people are having conversations, doing things like in and on beds, and I feel like it maybe gives the game away a little bit. I could see
the
it. I
bed
could see you.
is, you know?
Yeah. I like it too, yeah, and my spine is also it's getting to the point where it's like it doesn't hurt for like a few hours, or it hurts for like a few days, and it's like, oh, I don't know, probably gotta sort that out. Discipline myself. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you too about because for this course right now, the students are working on short pieces that we're going to put into an anthology together. And you've got a lot of like short standalone works, but also you've contributed to a lot of anthologies. And I wondered if you had any like things that you thought, because I think it's a tricky format sometimes. Like it's tricky to just like, be in a pack with a bunch of other completely unrelated work. Yeah, like what you think kind of works, or any tips you have about approaching anthology work?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe one place to start is to like not read people's stuff who are like masters at what they're doing. Because yeah, I don't know, I feel like short stories are really, really difficult, and a very small amount of people make it look really easy. And I think it's like easy to get in your head about that. I would say read a lot of stuff. When I say don't look at masters, I mean more like cartoonists who have this like kind of like realized product. I think it's easy to like wig yourself out. So yeah, I'd say read short stories and like write down things a lot. Keep like a journal. I think that's like a really big one. And just like let it be weird. Yeah. Let it not make sense if it's not meant to make sense.
How do you like, if you were drafting something for an anthology, would you like take those scraps of things you've written down and then thumbnail it into some, or like what is when you've got some ideas, like what's the next stage for you?
So what I've been doing at the moment is like I will have like a scene, and then I'll start to sort of like draw it out, because like I'm doing this like collaging thing. So I'll sort of like stick things in, and I'll think about the pacing, like what block of text someone wrote something, what block of text belongs together, what needs to be on a different page. But when I was doing like more, like when I do like more traditional cartooning, then yeah, I do just a thumbnail, because there's kind of it's very hard to tell the pacing of something until you actually draw it out, like what the pacing needs to be until you draw it out. Someone wrote YouTube user. Great name.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want me to read it out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Re-intimate images and working with teens. How do you balance the identities given the sexy nature of your work? Do your students know your working name? This is something I've been wondering as well, like pre going into teaching. So I'm interested.
Yeah. I mean, I think teenagers are just really obsessed with themselves and don't care. That's what I've come to. Yeah, like I think if I'm only there a couple of days a week, and I have thought about this, like what it, like the things like what my work looks like and stuff. Like I already have less of an internet presence because I just kind of don't want to, you know, deal with it. Yeah, I wonder if that's like a conversation that I'm going to need to have. But like also these teenagers are, you know, they know they're not dumb. They've lived at least a little bit of a life already. And I think if they're like diving deep enough into my work to see like the sexy content, then like maybe they're like gay or trans or there's something going on already. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess that's just part of the package, and I got hired, so that's good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm wondering the same thing, and also curating my internet presence a little bit differently than how I would have a little while ago. Have you ever worked with a pseudonym for anything, like just for fun? Have you?
No.
No.
It's a good idea though.
Yeah, I sometimes do little pseudonymous things just for fun, just to put something out there. But it's hard with comics. I'm talking about writing. I'm talking about like poems and stuff. Like, it's hard when you're a cartoonist. Like, I would spot that Tommy anywhere, I reckon. Like,
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to cartoon in a different way?
Oh God. Yeah. I love the idea of anonymously releasing poems though, because poems are very vulnerable.
And that is another in my list of themes that I wrote down. There's a lot of poets in your work as well. Poets and musicians often.
Yeah.
Is that like a secret desire that's
that I'm a poet and a musician? I'm definitely not a musician.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not a poet either, but I like poetry. I like some poetry. Depends, you know. I like I like narrative. It's like I love old poetry. I like narrative poetry, which just seems to me like a form of storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I just thought it might be a sublimated desire because I've seen you do readings and you do very performative comics readings. And
I do. I'm forever trying to find out a way to. So a lot of the comic fairs in probably here as well, right? But in North America are they're obsessed with the idea of like reading a comic out loud while it's projected on a screen, and I just hate that format so much. I think it's so embarrassing. I feel very embarrassed when I do it. Some people are amazing at it, but I just can't. So I'm always trying to work out ways to like make it performative in a way that I'm comfortable with. I actually really want to get into like puppets and stuff. That might be. So yeah, maybe a puppet show next.
Yeah, the next modality on the horizon.
Yeah, exactly. The extremely profitable industry of puppets. Second only to comics.
You did a puppet show, right? With ages ago though, right? With Mark Peterson, Mike Hawkins, Lee Lai.
Yeah.
I have one of those puppets somewhere in this house.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. And just like a way to bring people in. I think another thing with comics is I'm always trying to think of ways to like make it like a little more of a communal experience.
Yeah, what do you think? Because I'm interested in your perspective, having just come back to Australia. Like for people who don't know, you've been living in Western Mass for most of the time, but North America for the last like 10 years, was it? Something like that?
Yeah.
You know, like obviously there's this feeling of like being a little bit disconnected being here in Australia, like disconnected from the rest of the world, from Europe, from like these, you know, scenes where a lot of comic stuff is happening.
Yeah.
But I wanted your take on like what what you think like the Australian comics like community and industry, like what we could use more of, or like what, if there's like you think a priority thing that needs to happen in order to.
I think there needs to be more screen printing. I think there needs to be more like home shop screen printing that people can access easily. Yeah, I'd love it if there were more things like sticky. That would be amazing. I think it's different mostly just because there's fewer people. Which is, yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to say because it's easier to be an artist here because of Centrelink. It's like such a game changer. But yeah, I don't know. How about you? I'd be curious to know like what you think about this as
Well,
an
yeah,
American.
because I was going to say we've basically got opposite experiences where
Yeah.
I mean, I've spent most of my adult life, almost all of it, in Australia. So I didn't have like a lot of experience in America making stuff before I came here. But I agree. I mean, it's very like, I think living here, being an artist here is really interesting because it is this like small town vibe almost. Like, you know, we have this major metropolises.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think all the creative scenes in Australia I find are like really easy to get a sense of the like landscape and get to know people and like fully immerse yourself in it and be a real part of it, like, and not get kind of like lost in a sea of people. And so that's really good and positive and great. But then there is also the sense that it's like cloistered and we're our own, you know, strange ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I mean, that it comes down to like a foundational level. Like we need more people making comics.
Yeah.
Like
Need more like, I'm sorry, go on.
No.
Oh, yeah. Need more like DIY, weirder DIY stuff, I think. More people making comics, like scaffolding for that.
Yeah, because I see a lot of people attacking like like being like cultural institutions need to recognize comics more, and that's fine. But I don't think that that's what we're missing. I think we're missing like the weirdos. Like we need whatever grows them out of the ground. Like that is like I would support. But
I mean, a lot of them
a lot of them
move away, which I think is like a funny Australian thing to leave. I mean, yeah. But it seems like more all the time, more weirdos all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sense I'm getting. Like, I think it's changed a lot since in the time that I've lived here, like 14 years. Like, I think it has just grown and is like positive and exciting. So I'm feeling good about it. And I was going to ask you a little bit about maybe I think we're meant to wrap up relatively soon. So if anybody has any questions, now's the time to drop it in the chat. But I just wanted to ask you a little bit about like if you have any advice for cartoonists, like how they should be thinking about getting their work out there. I meet a lot of people who are like, I don't like posting on social media. Like I don't want to be trapped in some kind of social media, like trying to get likes and accrue followers on platforms that I hate. Like what do you think is the best kind of stuff to like be doing when you're starting out?
I think go back to the basics, make zines, go to Sticky, meet people, like make things with people, because I think that your peers are going to be the best like the most exciting artists that you know. So yeah, I think like find community, and with the likes and social media and like got another one here and things like that, like it's so fleeting, it doesn't matter. It can feel like a big deal, but it's just not. And so I think you need to make make stuff like with and put that like far to the side, if you possibly can, because it's only going to make you feel bad, or it's going to make you think that you're not doing enough or you should do something differently. It's just like a tool for comparison, basically. And like to be an artist is a real long game. Is a real long game thing. So yeah, find a way to be nice to yourself.
And we should maybe say that, so Sticky, that Tommy's brought up, is the Sticky Institute, which is a zine shop based here in Melbourne, that's been running for over 25 years now. And they stock zines from anywhere in the world, like, you know, internationally. If you're watching this, you can send your zines to Sticky. They take 20%, give you 80% of the sale price. You set the price. Like, they're very amazing, volunteer run.
It's like a cultural institution. I feel like it's like paying homage to your ancestors when you go there. We have a question from Jack and also Indigo, if we have time.
Yeah, I think we've got time. I'll read out Jack's first. So, re-vulnerability. I have a pretty autobiographical piece I'm working on. Why choose to publish something over keeping it private, even when you feel at odds about the personal content of the work?
Yeah. Why choose to publish it? That's a tricky one. Maybe it's just for you, or maybe it's just for your friends, which is okay. If it's feeling too vulnerable, then maybe that is the case. Or maybe you just make a couple of zines and sort of distribute them to places if you want. I think it just really depends on, I don't know, if you're trying to sort of like climb up like a particular like career ladder, or if you're just making things because you want to make things, or something between the two. I don't know, Bailey, what do you think? Like,
I don't think I've ever had enough shame to prevent me from from publishing something, even if I felt it was embarrassing, or you know, if I had misgivings about it. But yeah, I think I mean, there are ways you could make it less obviously autobiographical, throw people off the scent, or you could do what we said earlier, pseudonymously, you know, put the work out there. Or I don't know. I think it's interesting. The impulse to even think about, you know, just creating private work is interesting.
yeah,
and like, if you want to do it, do it.
There's a type of writing called autofiction, which is it's autobio-ish, except just enough has been changed for it to be fiction, which is what I do. And it's like extremely freeing, being like, this is the same, you know, look, I've changed this person's hat, so it's like got nothing to do with me anymore. So yeah, I highly recommend you look into autofiction if you're interested in like ways to sort of like navigate that.
Yeah. And I do think like it's important to feel like you don't need to spill your guts also. Like, you can, and it can be good and therapeutic, but also it can, if it'll make you feel like, really think about how you're going to, like, it's good that you're thinking about how you feel about it, you know, once you put it out, when people read it in the future, like, you know, if you think it's going to make you feel, you know, some type of way, like, I would protect yourself a little bit in that, and like not feel you have to divulge whatever. But maybe let's move on to Indigo's question, and then I think that's about all the time we've got. So Indigo says, I'm really interested in hearing about your experience, or sorry, what your experience was like getting your first book published, from someone who is in the mindset of writing a comic book and has no idea how publishing works.
I would just not think about publishing. I think that is a really important the experience of me getting my first book published was really amazing. I thought it was, I didn't like believe it when I first got the email. It was with 2D Cloud, who I think they're still going, but I think like making, I've seen a lot of people go down, there she is. I've seen a lot of people go down this road, like trying to, like making things like very specifically in order to get published and getting really upset when that doesn't happen, or when it does happen, thinking that it's going to like really radically change something in your life. Like I don't know. I really think just like putting that type of, like, of course, like having goals is like wonderful, but if that's like your main motivator, I think it's going to like bring a lot of like angst into your like comic making practice. So yeah, I would just make the thing, make it the best that you can, and think about it in terms of this project is just practice for the next project. And if you keep making stuff, something will happen. Something will come of it eventually.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the advantage of Australia is that it is such a small pool of people making stuff. And like, if you're making stuff consistently, you're developing your voice, you're going somewhere with it, like people will notice, you know. And I don't think it's about trying to pitch to particular companies or, you know, like I think if you're doing it and people are into it, then they will come to you, and like you just need to be doing your thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, just do your thing, because like probably you're going to be doing this for a long time, right? And like you're always going to be learning and getting better and growing. And it's, yeah, there's no like destination with being an artist, right? It's just kind of, it's just the next thing.
Yeah, and building community.
And exactly. I'm like, it sounded kind of grim when I said it like this. It's just like, yeah, what are you building? You're just building on the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you, Tommi. And thank you, everybody who submitted questions and who came out. I really appreciate it. This was very nice speaking with you. So everybody check out Tommi's work. You can find it online, or you can find it in any good bookstore. The Past is a Grotesque Animal is the collection that just came out. They've also got 2 other big books with Fantagraphics and a lot of zines besides that are out there floating around in the world. Maybe it's sticky. Would there still be anything that's sticky? No. All right. So just a reminder that this session is going to be archived on YouTube as a resource, and it'll be getting captioned in the coming days. So if you want to revisit any of the conversation, you can. If you've enjoyed this, please check out the archive that's on Toolkits YouTube page. It's the live talks on the Express Media YouTube. They have over 70 talks now from previous Toolkits guests, some of which are cartoonists, poets, you know, podcasters. Like there's a big variety of people that they've spoken to. And yeah, that's it. So thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.